Hey, what is going on, crypto people? Happy freaking Tuesday to each and every one of you. Listen, I'm going to get right into it. I had a very, very fascinating and interesting conversation with Grok 3 beta. Okay, Grok 3, not deep search, not the think features, Grok V3. Interesting conversation about Flare networks. I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to read this conversation to you from beginning to end. And I think that you will find it just as fascinating as I did. It says, "Hi, Grok." I say, "Hi, Grok. Good morning." Grok, "Good morning. How's your day starting so far? Need any help kicking it off with a bang?" I say, "Really well. Thank you. Are you familiar with the term inflationary mechanisms in crypto?" And this question comes from the recent post from Dark Horse addressing the concerns of Flare Network's inflationary mechanisms. All right. So Grok says, "Glad to hear your day's going well. Yep, I'm familiar. Yep, I'm familiar with inflationary mechanisms in crypto. In the context of cryptocurrencies, it refers to the processes built into a blockchain protocol that increase the supply of tokens or coins over time. Think of it like a system that prints new crypto, similar to how a central bank might increase the money supply in traditional finance, but it's all coded in the network's rules. For example, some cryptos use inflationary mechanisms to reward participants, like miners or validators, who keep the network running. Bitcoin early on had this with its block rewards, where new coins are minted every time a block is added, though that reward halves over time. Others, like Dogecoin, just keep adding new coins at a steady rate with no cap, making them inherently inflationary. The idea is often to incentivize activity and ensure there's enough currency circulating, to support the ecosystem. On the flip side, if the supply grows faster than demand, it can dilute the value of each coin. Basic supply and demand stuff. That's why some projects balance it with things like transaction fee burns or other deflationary tricks. Does that line up with what you were thinking? Or did you have a specific angle in mind? I say, yes, it does. Can you think of any blockchains that currently have it? He says, "You're asking about blockchains with inflationary mechanisms, right?" Yes, that's right. Based on what we've discussed, these are systems where the token supply increases over time, often to reward network participants like miners or validators. Let's look at a few examples that are doing this as of now. And please stay with me because it's going to get into the real meat of it here shortly in reference to Flare. So it says, let's look at a few examples that are doing this as of now, February 23rd, 2025. Ethereum is a big one. Even though it's shifted to proof of stake with the merge back in 2022 and introduced fee burning via the EIP 1559, it's still inflationary overall. New ETH is issued to validators as staking rewards. And while burns offset some of that, the supply typically grows slowly. Think around 0.5% to 1% annually in recent years, depending on network activity. The exact rate fluctuates, but it's designed to keep validators incentivized. Then there's Dogecoin. It's a classic example of no supply cap, just a steady stream of new coins. It adds about 10,000 Doge per minute, which is roughly 5 billion per year, as block rewards for miners. That's been its thing since the cap was removed in 2014. Keeping it inflationary to encourage spending and use over hoarding. Think about it. Keeping it inflationary to encourage spending and use over hoarding. Solana is another one worth mentioning. It starts with an inflation rate around 8% annually, which decreases by 15% each year until it stabilizes at 1.5% long term. Right now, it's still in that higher range, probably close to 4 to 5% after recent updates like SIMD 96, which bump rewards to validators. The idea is to bootstrap network security and participation early on. Polkadot does it too. It targets a 10% annual inflation rate, though it adjusts dynamically based on how much Polkadot is staked. If staking drops below 50%, inflation rises to encourage more staking. If it's above, rewards shift more toward the treasury. It's a flexible system to balance security and growth. These are just a handful. Plenty of blockchains use inflation to keep things humming. Any specific one you're curious about, ask Grok, asking me in this conversation. And again, I started this whole thing because of the madness the Dark Horse was posting with his concerns about Flare Network's move to do staking and its inflationary mechanism, no revenue, blah, 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 blah. Just understand that. All right, so Grok asked me any specific one you're curious about, any specific blockchain. I answered, yep, just like he answered me, yep. I said, or he or she, yep. Any thoughts on Flare Network's inflationary mechanism? Given the fact that the three above blockchains, should have been above mentioned blockchains, managed to not only survive, but became top crypto blockchains. Grok answers, you're curious about Flare Network's inflationary mechanism and how they stack up, especially since blockchains like Ethereum, Dogecoin, and Solana have thrived with their own versions of inflation. Let's unpack Flare's approach and see what makes it tick or might make it tick differently. Flare's inflationary mechanism is tied to its core mission, incentivizing decentralized data provision and network security. Unlike Ethereum, which uses staking rewards, or Dogecoin's endless mining rewards, Flare mints new FLR tokens as a starting rate that's been adjusted over time. As of mid-2024, it's set at 5% of the available supply annually, capped at 5 billion FLR, down from an initial 10%. This inflation isn't just thrown into circulation willy-nilly. It's split, with 70% going to Flare time series Oracle data providers and their delegators, to FTSOs and their delegators, 20% to validators, and 10% to state connector attestation providers. The goal? Keep the network humming with accurate price feeds and cross-chain data, which is Flare's big selling point for interoperability. Now compare that to the trio you mentioned. Ethereum's inflation has shrunk post-merge, excuse me, often flirting with deflation when fee burns outpace issuance, sometimes as low as 0.9% net growth yearly. It's a balancing act that's worked because of massive adoption and utility in DeFi and NFTs. Dogecoin, with its 5 billion new coins yearly, thrives on simplicity and community hype, not complex mechanics. Its inflation rate hovers around 3 to 4% now, but dilutes value without a cap. Yet it's still a top dog thanks to memes and loyalty. Solana's 8% starting rate, which is now closer to 4 to 5%, drops 15% annually towards 1.5%, fueling validated rewards in a high-speed ecosystem that's won over developers and traders with performance. Flare's twist is that its inflation directly supports its data oracle niche. The FTSO rewards data providers. For delivering accurate feeds. Think decentralized chain link vibes. While staking and attestation keep the network secure and connected to other chains, It's a clever way to bootstrap utility, especially for assets, bridging non-smart contract coins like XRP or Bitcoin to DeFi. But here's the rub. The initial 100 billion FLR supply plus inflation gets tempered by flare drops. 24.2 billion FLR distributed over 36 months to wrap FLR holders, which dilutes immediate market flooding. Still, if external demand, say for F assets or DApps, doesn't ramp up fast enough, that 5% could weigh on FLR's value, much like Dogecoin's in the supply test its price resilience. What's promising is Flare's adaptability. The community slashed inflation from 10 to 7% in 2023, then to 5% in 2024, showing governance can pivot. There's even chatter on X about FLR potentially turning deflationary if transaction burns, fees, and unclaimed tokens outstrip issuance. Say if usage spikes 5x, that's a big if, but it mirrors Ethereum's burn success. Unlike Solana's validator-driven growth or Dogecoin's meme-fueled staying power, Flare's survival hinges on its data and interoperability bet paying off. If it becomes the go-to bridge for XRP, Bitcoin, and others in DeFi, that inflation could feel like a small price to pay for a thriving ecosystem. So, Flare's inflationary mechanism isn't wow compared to the big three. It's purposeful, adjustable, and tied to a unique vision. Whether it joins their ranks depends on execution. Can it attract enough users to justify the new FLR flowing in? The others survive by finding their grooves. Ethereum's utility, Dogecoin's charm, Solana's speed. Flare's groove might just be its data bridge. Then Grok asks me, thoughts on if that niche can carry to the top? I said, yes, I believe that niche will carry it to the top. Data is the new oil, I say to Grok. What are your thoughts? Again, I say, yes, I believe that niche that niche, and it will. I believe the niche, right? Data is a bridge, and it will carry it to the top. I say data is the new oil. What are your thoughts? Grok says, you're betting Flare's data-driven niche will rocket it to the top. And I love the data is the new oil angle. It's a sharp way to frame it. Let's riff on that and see where Flare's inflationary mechanism fits into the big picture. Data as oil means it's a resource everyone needs. But it's only valuable when refined and delivered right. Flare's FTSO and stake connector are like the rigs and pipelines, pulling in decentralized price feeds and cross-chain info, then pumping it out to DApps and F assets. That 5% annual inflation capped at 5 billion isn't just fluff. It's the fuel paying data providers and validators to keep the system flowing. If Flare nails this, it could be the go-to refinery for chains like XRP, Bitcoin, or even Doge that lack native smart contracts, unlocking them for DeFi. Imagine XRP holders minting FXRP to earn yield. That's a killer use case if adoption kicks in. Compare that to the big dogs we talked about. Ethereum's data oil is its smart contract ecosystem, tons of it. but it's diluted by complexity and gas cost, even post-merge. Its inflation of 0.5 to 1% net is low, but it's already gushing value from sheer scale. Dogecoin's got no data oil. It's more like a collectible barrel of moonshine with 3 to 4% inflation, just keeping the party going. Solana's high-speed pipes churn out 4 to 5% inflation now, heading to 1.5%. But its strength is raw throughput, not specialized data like Flare's. Flare's edge is precision. It's not trying to be everything to everyone. That 70% of inflation going to the FTSO data providers could make it the most reliable, decentralized Oracle hub out there. Chainlink's got competition if Flare scales. And with governance tweaking inflation from 10% to 5% already, it's got room to adapt, maybe even flip deflationary like Ethereum if burns take off. CryptoX posts lately hint at F asset hype building XRP trials in 2024 had decent buzz. So let me say that again. So CryptoX posts lately hint at the F asset hype building. And then XRP trials in 2024 had decent buzz. So the demand might just match the supply. The catch? Oil is only king if the world runs on it. Flare needs developers and users to buy into its data vision fast, or that 5% inflation flood could flood a market with no takers. Again, Flare needs developers and users to buy into its data vision fast, or that 5% inflation could flood a market with no takers, tanking FLR like cheap crude. Ethereum, Dogecoin, and Solana had first mover luck or raw appeal. Flare's got to prove its niche isn't a luxury, but a necessity. If data really is the new oil and Flare becomes the OPEC of cross-chain DeFi, you're spot on. It's top tier bound. If Flare becomes the OPEC of cross-chain DeFi, I would say it's got a shot if it executes flawlessly and rides the interoperability wave. This is Grok v3. Grok v3 now asks me, what do you think the next big catalyst for Flare might be? My response, without question, it's AI. You're calling AI the next big catalyst for Flare, and that's a bold, exciting take. Let's dig into why that could light a fire under its data-driven model and inflationary setup. AI thrives on data, massive, clean, real-time streams of it. Flare's FTSO already pumps out decentralized price feeds and a state connect that grabs cross-chain info, making it a potential gold mine for AI apps needing reliable inputs. Picture this: AI models predicting market moves or optimizing DeFi strategies, pulling live data from Flare's oracles for XRP prices, Bitcoin liquidity, whatever, without trusting some centralized API that could flake out. This is Grok v3 saying this stuff. That 5% inflation, which 70% to the FTSO providers, could scale up to reward more data crunchers as AI demand spikes. keeping the network humming. Think about F assets too. AI could supercharge their use. Say an AI-driven trading bot minting XRP or F Bitcoin to arbitrage across chains, leaning on Flare's infrastructure. If AI devs start building on Flare because it's the easiest way to get trustless, interoperable data, that's a feedback loop. More usage, more fees, maybe even enough burns to offset inflation and flip it net negative, like Ethereum's best days. CryptoX chatter's been hot on AI crypto combinations lately. Flare's quiet positioning could match that wave. The big three we talked about, Ethereum's got AI dApps already, but its general purpose sprawl means it's not laser focused like Flare could be. Dogecoin's a non-starter, fun, but no AI juice. Solana Speed could host AI, but it's not built for Flare's cross-chain data niche. Flare's play is specialized. If AI needs an oil well of blockchain data, Flare's got the thrill. Flare's got the drill. Let me say that again. Flare's play is specialized. If AI needs an oil well of blockchain data, Flare's got the drill. The hitch is adoption speed. AI is moving fast. Think LLM scale leaps. But Flare's got to hustle to be the go-to before bigger players pivot. A killer app like an AI Oracle marketplace or a cross-chain AI trading platform could be the spark. If Flare nails that, your data is oil bet plus AI could make it a top contender. And then it asked me, what kind of AI use cases do you see igniting it first? I respond, well, I see AI in DeFi as a perfect match and an awesome killer app. What do you think? You're pairing AI with DeFi as Flare's killer app, and I'm all in for that combo. It's got serious fireworks potential. Let's break it down and see how it could play out with Flare's inflationary setup and data niche. AI and DeFi are like peanut butter and jelly. AI's predictive smarts and optimization chops can supercharge DeFi's yield chasing, trading, and liquidity games. Imagine an AI-powered protocol on Flare that uses FTSO's real-time price feeds, say XRP USD or Bitcoin ETH, to auto-rebalance liquidity pools across chains. Or an AI arbitrage bot minting F assets like XRP and Litecoin to exploit price gaps. Again, this is Grok3 saying these things. All trustless and decentralized thanks to Flare's data pipes. That 5% inflation, which 70% go to the FTO providers, could scale to reward more data nodes as AI apps demand tighter, faster feeds, keeping the system greased. Flare's cross-chain angle is the secret sauce here. DeFi's big on Ethereum, but it's siloed. AI there can't easily tap Bitcoin or, remember this, AI there can't easily tap Bitcoin or XRP markets. Flare bridges that gap. An AI DeFi app could analyze Flare's state connector data, spot a yield spike on an XRP-based F asset, and deploy capital instantly. If usage pops off, transaction fees and burns could climb, maybe even outpacing the 5 billion FLR cap yearly, turning inflation into a strength like Ethereum's burn pivot, but for a niche crowd. Look at the others. Ethereum's DeFi is mature, but gas fee and complexity can choke AI experimentation. It's 1% inflation lean, but it's not tailored for this. Dogecoin's 3 to 4 inflation fuels nothing DeFi related. It's a zero fit. Solana's 4 to 5%, dropping to 1.5%, powers fast DeFi, but lacks Flare's cross-chain data hook. AI there stuck in one sandbox. Flare's leaner, focused, data as oil, AI as the refinery, DeFi as the market. The kicker, execution. An AI DeFi app needs to be slick. Think a Uniswap style interface with AI-driven yield farming, all Flare powered. If it lands, demand for FLR could soar. Staking, data provision, F asset minting, making that inflation a feature, not a bug. CryptoX is buzzing with AI DeFi hype lately. Flare could ride that wave if it ships something usable fast. I'd say it's a slam dunk if they nail the UX and get a big partner like an XRP ledger tie-in. Then it ask me, and I'll end here, what's the first AI DeFi trick you want to see on Flare? All right, fam, that wraps it up. I hope that was valuable to you. I got to hop off here. I got to get on the spaces real quick. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.